I'll start with what we're going to talk about, sustainability and AI. But before I get onto that, I wanted to mention, which I think I didn't mention the last time, is what is Oracle? Because most people, when they think of Oracle, they think of a database company, which is not necessarily what Oracle does nowadays. So to answer a couple of questions, and I know, Martin, you hate it when we say Gartner Magic Quadrant, can't use it to select a vendor, but just to mention a few things. ERP-centric or product-centric ERP systems leadership quadrant for Oracle. Same for supply chain planning, same for warehouse management, same for logistics, and same for financial planning. So for all of those, we are in the leadership quadrant. And when we talk about some of the points that Bram made this morning, which is about the swamp, the data swamp, and also around systems that are not integrated, ideally what you're wanting to do is to have a pre-integrated system that takes care of all of your data, so that when you do come to do planning, you don't have to then go about worrying about integrating your systems. So that's one thing to mention as well. Because when you talk about collecting data within an S&OP process, it becomes really, really challenging if on week 2, and if it's taken you 2 weeks already to gather all the data, something happens, you may not be able to react until the next S&OP process. So again, scenario planning and data is critical. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is, first of all, safe harbor statement. I'm not sure if you've all read it, but if I talk about anything in the roadmap, we have to have that. So some key points I wanted to mention around AI. So we talk about AI, and this is a hot topic. Anyone who attended the Gartner Supply Chain Summit would have heard everyone was talking about AI. So some key points, we can all see those, but what do they mean? If I look at the top left there, 74% of execs in the recent, and this is the 2024 McKinsey report, say that when companies or execs are looking to see where they can use AI in supply chain planning, 74% are looking on improving forecast accuracy. So using AI to drive demand management. But GenAI, we've all heard about GenAI. It's slow in coming to supply chain planning, but it's coming. So Ernst & Young, again, a 2024 report saying that 40% of supply chain organizations are looking to incorporate GenAI into their supply chains. And the key thing is there any benefit in using AI? Because everyone's talking about AI, but no one is really talking about, is it adding any value? So this is a Boston Consulting Group study done from 2023, and there are a couple of other key information points in there, but the key one is 15 to 20% reduction in inventory for customers or for companies that incorporate AI into their IBP process. So this is just the start. As AI gets more and more involved, more and more embedded into your supply chains, you can potentially see additional value being made. So, of course, the reason I'm here is to say, yes, we already do some of that, and there's more coming. So already with supervised machine learning, in terms of blending those various statistical algorithms together to come up with a better statistical forecast, but then also using AI to actually improve the forecast accuracy of the engine. Every time it runs, it guides you in terms of how you can tune it, what recommendations to tune that engine in terms of how sensitive should you be to outliers, how sensitive should you be to seasonality for that particular combination. And then lastly, the ability to actually use external AI models to forecast. Coming, of course, roadmap, some items around GenAI to improve the explainability of the plan, to help summarize the plan. So we talked about AI, but two key points with AI and sustainability is that they are both disruptors. So we heard about all the various things around how supply chains are being disrupted, but two of the key things in terms of how, as supply chain planning leaders, we are going to be working, how we're actually going to be using supply chain planning is going to be around the impact of sustainability, and it's going to get more and more dramatic, but on also how AI is going to be changing the way that we actually operate. Now, if you bring those two together, AI and sustainability dovetail to an extent, because AI can help me improve my sales and operation planning process, my demand, my supply, essentially my supply chain planning process. But AI in itself is very, very heavy in terms of the need for data centers. So the more AI we need, the more data centers we need, the less sustainable it is. So it's a bit of a chicken-egg scenario. But in terms of coming to these points here, 88% of greenhouse gas emissions fall into Scope 3. So why am I saying this? If we talk about Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3, I hope everyone is aware of what Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3 is. But essentially, Scope 3 is outside of my supply chain in terms of my customers and my suppliers. 88% of all of your emissions are outside of your supply chain. So if you're not talking to your suppliers and you're not talking to your customers in terms of helping them improve, there's only a certain amount that you can actually improve in your own supply chain. And then Council of Supply Chain Management indicated that 62% of the customers or the people that they surveyed have no plans to do anything, or at least nothing in the next 5 years, to consider in the Scope 3 with regards to their own, outside of their supply chain. And then a nice article, nice percentage here, which is very, very applicable to our speakers this morning, Friesland Campina and Heineken. 14% of everything that is harvested and distributed and produced globally is lost, which accounts for around 400 billion annually. So from a sustainability perspective, it's critical that we actually solve these problems. So this is just in food. I mean, there's loads of other percentages and things outside. So how can we fix this? Well, ideally, within a sales and operation planning process, not only do we want to use AI to help improve the process, but we actually want to have the ability to decide, using scenario planning, which of my scenarios that I'm using is the best from a financial perspective, but also from a sustainability perspective. Unless I'm actually tracking this and planning this, I'm not going to be able to improve this, because most of what we're doing in sustainability nowadays is around measuring. We actually need to bring it into our sales and operation planning process and actually make decisions around improving. And I believe I'm out of time. Thank you all.
Thank you.